What's up, everyone? This is Paolo.
This is Akshay.
And welcome to another video for Therapist Threads. Now, interestingly enough, the first time we launched our channel, one of our friends actually thought that Therapist Threads was specifically about fashion for therapists.
Which is a pretty honest mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why that would make sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not all we do, but today we're going to be talking a little bit about therapy fashion. I know we talked a little bit in one of our other videos about what to wear in school for grad school, but we're going to talk mainly about therapy fashion in terms of your clinical placements, clinical work. But actually, I think we should probably change, man.
Yeah, I think you're right, man.
That's more like it, man.
Yeah, there we go.
So anyway, so like we said, we're going to talk a little bit about what we stuff we wear to practicum. So as you can see, I just got a polo on. Actually, I got a little button down action going.
No tie though.
No tie though.
No tie.
I was asking him too. I was like, when was the last time you did therapy in a tie? He was like,
Never.
So one thing to address is that wardrobe at your sessions really depend a lot on where you are, placement wise. I know schools. All right.
Well, what was it like for you?
What was it like for me? So yeah, we were both actually at schools our first year, but in my I was actually working in a lot of continuation high schools and stuff and whatnot. Actually, at the high schools where I was working, students weren't actually allowed to wear any red or any blue because they were gang-related colors and everything like that. So that was a big thing for us too, was not wearing any red, not wearing any blue. So just, ask your supervisors, ask also the people at the schools. I would even ask before you even get there just to make sure. Just try, if you can contact people beforehand, let them, and just ask them. That would be a good thing.
Or previous people, if you knew
previous people that have
who
worked
were there.
Yeah.
You know. I was in like a community college setting. So we didn't have any like restricted colors or anything like that, but I was still really careful not to dress too casually. I didn't wear this, but I was wearing more like what Paolo's wearing, which is usually polos, with a collar, and that was pretty good. Some days I would use the polo with a collar and a hoodie if it got too cold. Can't ever not have my hoodies.
That's true. And then the other thing, so we were at a community clinic, both of us, second year and third year too, just different ones.
That's true.
With community clinics, it's also important not to dress too gaudy, like with a lot of crazy, like expensive stuff. Just because for a lot of these clients, working communities, it's just, you don't want to be like come in being like, yo, I got money, check out my clothes. You know what I'm saying?
And I know you did home visits too. How was that?
I did, yes. Yeah. That's another thing too. I did, before I actually even started grad school, one of the first jobs I had was doing home visits, working in the home. And, one of the most important things is knowing your community, knowing the community. So also just wearing a little bit more subtle clothing, but also just being comfortable, being able to move. Like in some of these settings, like you'd be chasing a little 5-year-old around on the ground, like you don't necessarily want to be wearing a suit for that. You want to make sure that you're comfortable, that you can move in those settings. So it's good to keep that in mind as well.
It's really interesting. This past year, I was working in a school part time, and there I would work with this kid who I would play basketball with every single week. And I had to make sure when I dressed, I wouldn't wear like super heavy jeans. I wear some like light khakis and like a t-shirt sometimes. Even underneath the polo, so I could take off the polo and keep the t-shirt on when I'm playing basketball with.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You got to be able to, depending on the population we're working with, you got to be able to be. You have to feel comfortable.
Yeah, and this is something else to keep in mind. Also, like your outfit is, whether you know it or not, is always communicating something, right?
Yeah,
it's always communicating something to the client. Even when it comes to footwear, I know that like. In one of these particular clinics where I work, like the standard for footwear for all the kids that come in are Jordans. Like it's crazy. Like they come in, I'm like, seriously, it's crazy. Like, it's all like these fancy shoes and whatnot. So like, you don't necessarily, and that can sometimes cause this thing of like, well, who has and who hasn't and whatnot. So just keeping in mind that everything from the shoes you wear to if you're wearing jewelry, if you have jewelry on, whatever it might be, these things are all tattoos. And this is something to just consider, to just think about.
Not that anything is bad or good or anything like that, but just know how you are communicating yourself is going to be seen by most of the clients you're seeing. And you will learn to address that like therapeutically and clinically when it comes up, when it's relevant. I know for me, I even had a beard at a certain point, and that caused a lot of different clinical issues with some clients. And I was like, I'm going to shave. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can and cannot control, and you have to see what comes up and deal with that.
The other quick other thing I want to acknowledge. I know that some sites may have dress code things that may not seem fair in certain cases. I know that I've heard a lot from some of our female identified colleagues, like they'll say like, oh, like the dress code at my site is really sexist.
That's true.
So I'm like, that's something that definitely comes up. We can't really speak on that being dudes, but just wanted to bring that up. That issue does come up sometimes.
And shed light that it is
Still,
a huge issue
for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have for this edition of Therapist Threads. But our question is, do you have any reflections on what to wear for therapy for you, or like other ideas and whatnot? Just anything, any reflections you might have. So, yeah, we'll catch you later.
All right.